Welcome to the DUC Migrating to Australia podcast. On this episode, I'm joined by Tanya Fell and our Lisa Chambers. We'll be hearing Tanya's story migrating to Australia, about the book her and her son wrote. It's called Harry's Adventures. It's an amazing little book, and how Tanya has helped people through the relocation services that the Downer Centre offers. So, Tanya and Lisa, welcome.
Hi, Wes. Hi, everyone.
So, guys, what we're going to do is Tanya's actually a previous migrant of ours. She then joined the relocation team, and she's now actually training to be a registered migration agent, which is all exciting. So it's quite a lot to talk about. So let's crack straight into it. So, Tanya, again, thank you for joining us. Okay. Just give us a rundown about who's in your family.
So in my family, I have got a little boy who's Harry. He's 7 and he's absolutely soccer mad. And I have got a husband, Craig, who is the sparky of the family. And then there's me, the head of the family.
The boss, the big boss, Tanya. So
exactly.
You mentioned soccer. So everyone's cool using the terminology soccer in your household? No longer football?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Soccer all the way here, yeah.
And Harry's playing soccer at club level?
Yes, he's part of a community team and he absolutely loves it.
Was it hard to... Well, firstly, whereabouts are you based?
So we live in the Bayside part of Brisbane here in Queensland.
Perfect. And was it hard to find soccer teams?
No, there's plenty around. Do your research, you'll find one. Harry's actually been with the same soccer team for the last 2 years. It's actually coming towards the end of the season, actually. He's got his last game on Friday, and then I think we'll be moving him on into a different team, just so he can get up to more academy level, actually.
Ah, good on him. Okay, perfect. So, all right, so you've got yourself, Harry and Craig. Craig being the main applicant. He was an electrician. So we're going to sort of probably focus this podcast more on yourself and the family. But how did you make the move, and whose decision was it to make the move to get to Australia? And I believe a scratch card was involved.
Yes, that is right, Wes. So our process actually started back in the year of about 2017, actually. We sort of thought about moving. We originally thought America, and then we soon changed our mind on that, and then thought about Australia. So we actually attended an expo where we heard this Aussie bloke talking that took our ear, got chatting, and sold us the Down Under Centre, really, and that's how we started our process.
You know, I'm going to ask the scratch card. Go on, tell the listeners what happened. It obviously helped with the process a fair bit.
Yes, it did. So I was actually working in the UK in a restaurant at the time, and I had a really, really bad day. And I literally nipped to the local co-op. I bought a bag of Maltesers, and I bought this scratch card from actually the lady on the counter was one of my mum's really old school friends. Went to my grandma and granddad's and put my scratch card, my bag of Maltesers on the table. Grandma went and put the cup of tea right on top of my scratch card. I said, no, you can't be doing that. We could be in for some money. And then within that, there was 3 signs of 100k on there. So, run Craig straight away. And, and it certainly helps with finances in getting over here.
Well, 100,000 on a scratch card. Hey, that is, that's incredible. I reckon if I bought one, I'd get the donuts or whatever you get, which is nothing. So there you go. Okay, so you had the conversation, you decided to make the move, and then you started the process with the Down Under Centre. We started working with Craig for his skills assessment as an electrician. So he went in and done his, we gathered all the required documents. And were you part of that process, getting all the pay slips, tax documents, etc.?
Absolutely. I remember having to sort out the masses and masses of Craig's pay slips because he was paid weekly, and Craig being Craig kept them all, luckily, and we just had stacks of paperwork everywhere for his tax. I can remember the postman bringing like bank statements and chunks, and that was all my sort of paperwork side in supporting him, really.
Yes, it is. It's probably the hardest part. Well, I always believe it's the hardest part of the process. Well, that and the emotional side, which we'll touch base in a minute. But getting the required documents. All right, so we gathered the required documents for the skills assessment and the visa for work experience points. Now, what year was this when you started?
I think we actually started in the 2017. Our process was very quick. It might have been the 2018 actually by the time we'd got everything submitted, I think. Yeah, because then we was out here in the July the 2019. Yeah, so our process was fairly quick.
Excellent. So back then we didn't have the client portal, which is a lot easier for our clients to use. We would have sent you out a lovely Down Under Centre box with all it was like designed like a suitcase, and then we had a folder, and in the folder you had little plastic pockets where you had to insert everything, and then we got you to send it back to us that way.
Yes.
Feels like a long time ago. I remember actually creating those boxes and talking to people who make boxes. It's very interesting conversations, trust me. There's a lot more involved when designing a box than what you think. For anyone who's choosing to create a box, it is very challenging. Anyway, so you come, he did that. He then he did a technical and practical assessment from the Down Under Centre venue. Was that during the week or was it a weekend? Do you remember?
Do you know what? I can't actually remember. I know that at the time I came down with him. I think it was when you were down in London actually, because I brought Harry along with me, and me and Harry went around Kensington Palace Gardens, and Harry was really young at this age. He must have only been about 2. So I was getting tubes with a pram and a 2-year-old while Craig was doing his skills assessment. Yeah, that's it. Oh gosh, it seems so long ago now.
It is. It just flies by. So, all right. So he went in, did his practical assessment, came out. How did he feel? Was he told it? Do you remember? I mean, again, it's a while ago. Was he told at completion that he passed the skills assessment? Was he nervous?
No, he didn't feel too nervous. At the end of the day, he's been an electrician since the age of 16 when he started his apprenticeship in the UK. So he felt fairly confident. He said they were quite supportive in there, and yeah, he had no real issues. He came out happy enough, so yeah.
Well, he passed because he's here,
yes.
which is good news. Now he English test. So Craig completed an English test.
He did, yes.
Do you remember the score he got?
No, not off the top of my head. I know he was just off the higher points due to his speaking, I think. I don't know if it's because he had a lisp.
He had a lisp. Oh, Craig, I hope you don't listen to this one, mate. Really don't. But okay, so all right. So, but in the end, you what visa did you apply for?
A 190.
A 190, perfect. And just going back over those dates, so you start. So just give the listeners a bit of a rough idea. And again, the timescales are way off, listeners, because it was so long ago. But you started the process in what month and year?
So I think we started chats with you in the year of 2017, and I think we started formally doing everything in the year of 2018, because I can remember us getting our grant. I think we put our expression of interest in the July of 2018. We was granted in the 22nd of December of the 2018. Great Christmas present.
Yep.
And then we flew out, that July, I think, in the 2019, yeah.
Okay, so now we've got that period from when the visa's granted to actually flying out. I guess that's where we focus on the emotional side and how people do things. So what was your plan and how did you go about it?
So the emotional side, yes, it's not one of the easiest things. It's one of the hardest things of this whole process. More to do with the family side of things. Me, Craig, were set on coming out here. There was no question that anyone was going to change our mind. It was just really that family side of things. They did not take the news well at all when we eventually broached the subject. And I mean, it took us a while for us to tell them, because we didn't tell them until we put in our expression of interest. So we'd gone through the whole Craig doing his English test. We told him that Craig was working away for the day. When he was doing his skills assessment and I went down to London with him, we told the family we were going to take Harry for his first trip to London. That wasn't a lie. It was his first trip to London, but Craig was doing a skills assessment. And then the medical side of things, we went to Birmingham. We told them that we was going for a trip there to Cadbury's World. Again, that wasn't a lie. We did go to Cadbury's World, but we also had a medical exam as well. And then, yes, we told them at the expression of interest stage, thinking that, we'll have plenty of time for them to get their head around it and everything before the visa was granted. But then, yes, it was granted in that December, right before Christmas. So we had to tell them this was going to be our last Christmas with them. The family, certain sides of the family make you feel guilty. They make you feel like, well, in the words of, it's like a death to the family. And again, we're absolutely fine about that, but it's something you've got to accept, guys, that you probably will get this somewhere along the line.
Tanya, did they explain to you why? Like, was it a feeling of that you'd be missed, or that was it jealousy? What do you think sparked those reactions?
I think it was a mixture, to be fair. And at the end of the day, Harry is in some cases the first grandchild on a part of the family, so I can understand why we got the reaction we did. Because yes, we're taking their first grandchild away and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it was what me and Craig wanted to do for Harry and for ourselves. Yes, it sounds very selfish, and don't get me wrong, I'm very aware of that, but it's up to them. If they want to miss out on our life out here, then it's part of it. It is, yeah.
And Tanya, now that the people that were annoyed, disappointed, whatever, feeling driving you a little bit away, making that time more challenging. Are you in contact with them now and everything?
Yes, we're in contact with them now.
Yep. So
yes.
Time's healed everything. They've seen the life that you guys have created. And have they managed to come out to Australia at all?
No, I wouldn't go as far as that, Wes, unfortunately. Yep. It's still very tough and very raw. Yes, we still get the emotion. We still get the tears, and we're 4 years in. But again, it's something that we have to accept, and it is part of it. And I can understand why they're upset, and they don't want to come out here. And again, that's up to them. That's their choice. And then I've had actually my sister say this week, she's a single mum. She's got a 2-year-old and a 8-month-old, and she's planning on trying to come out here next year by herself because she wants to show her kids the life her Auntie Tan and their cousin is having out here. So yeah, the family is very much split, 100%.
Yep. It's tough when you care for someone so much and they decide to move. And I mean, look, the reality is it's a long journey, isn't it? It's a horrible journey. I think myself, you and Lisa all agree it's a long journey, and it's not something that you realistically you might say, "Oh, we'll try get out there all the time." In a podcast we recorded just the other day with Sean and Kat, they've had Kat's mum's been out a fair bit, which is great. But I was doing that recording with them, I was thinking, wow, that's amazing. Like the cost associated with the flights, but also the time. It is a lot of commitment. So I guess the message, listeners, is, do focus on the emotional side as well. And would you have done anything different, like your reaction, Tanya, to people being hesitant or, like whatever word you want to use? How would you describe it, like how you felt that they were doing? Would you? How did you react to that? And would you have done anything differently?
Well, good question, because to be honest, I wouldn't do anything differently. It works on both sides. You make the effort with me and us, and we will make the effort with you. And if Harry's only 7, if you want to make the effort with Harry, if you want to drop him a message, if you want to drop him a video call, then that's great. I would say the hardest part of it is, if we could maybe do anything slightly different, is with regards to the grandparents. Now, our grandparents are like in their 80s. They can't see. They can hardly hear. So that side of things is very hard. And again, that's probably another thing that you've got to sort of accept, them elderly relatives in the family. Again, Harry's the only great-grandchild to some of them as well. So that can be quite tough. But doing things like sending them, like Harry's school photos, for instance. He's had his school photos. We've had larger ones printed, so they're able to. We post them out, so they're able to see an A4 size picture of Harry, and they're able to put it in their frame. We have suggested things like my grandma. She's great with her iPad. She's got it on full Zoom, but she doesn't care. At least she can see us and chat away. And we walk around the house with her, and Harry's showing her thing and playing soccer outside and kicking the ball in his goal. And that's what it should be like. He loves that relationship with them. But I don't think I would do anything differently because of the way our life is here now as our family. I will also mention as well your friendships drop off, which I thought would probably be the other way round. I thought people would want to stay in contact with us and things like that, but it's been the absolute complete opposite.
Yeah, I guess that comes with growing up as well and creating new friends, obviously school friends, and people's. Let's be honest, the kids rule our lives, I should say. All right, so obviously that was a tough time, and you feel very comfortable with the decisions that you've made surrounding that. Again, it is a challenging part of it. Speaking to the grandparents and everything's really hard with technology. Isn't it? Like getting them to use the technology when you can't really be there teaching them.
Yes.
But you see, I always feel that with my wife, and when I was away from my mum and that, I actually probably spoke to them so much more being away. It was a real effort that's what it was. And obviously it missed, and it breaks your heart. Even when people come for visits, this is something we really got to touch on is when I used to visit back home, from London to Melbourne, where I currently am now, is being on that journey back to the airport. You try hold your tears back, but it's just that uncomfortable silence. Probably for the last 24 hours of your trip, because maybe it's a bit of guilt that you're going off, you're leaving them, you've got this other life on the other side of the world, but you also just know what you're missing out on. And when loved ones pass and you're needed, it's really challenging. So, guys and listeners, please, do you have a bit of a think how you would approach these situations, and try remember from the other part who's maybe putting a bit of pressure on you to stay in your home country, how they're feeling, and maybe Lisa and Tanya, we can do another webinar really focusing on that part, and give people ideas. Maybe we'll ask our current clients in the DUC club ways that they dealt with it, because it is real, isn't it?
It is. It's real. It's raw. It is 100% part of this journey, and it's not just that leaving in the UK and things like that. It's when you're here, and we're 4 years in now, and we're still dealing with these emotions and everything like that. But we don't get me wrong. There is lovely times, like at Christmas or at birthdays, when I get video messages from my little niece and nephew of wishing me happy birthday when they're trying to say happy birthday for the first time, is just absolutely brilliant. I still get that connection still. Yes, it's not the same as being in person, but it still makes us feel a part of the family and being together, and I'm not missing out on those sort of things.
We've got to use the most of technology, don't we? We can still connect. I mean, we're doing a podcast when you got you in Queensland, me and Vic, and Lisa in South Australia. It's working well.
Yes.
It's just how it goes. So, all right. So you guys decided about Australia. You've made the move. Before you made the move, you had to book tickets. And how did you decide that you're going to end up in Brisbane? And was Brisbane the first place, the first state of Australia you entered?
Yes. Well, we chose Brisbane because of Craig having a job offer here. He had a friend of a friend that just seemed to make the connection, and it happened to just fall on our lap. So we thought, right, let's go to Brisbane. And we ended up on the Gold Coast for a little bit, for 4 weeks or so, because that's where we thought we was going to end up. And then his bosses was like, oh, no, don't base yourself down there. Come up towards the Bayside where we are now, because you're going to be commuting, Craig, between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So base yourself halfway in between. So, yeah, we was very lucky in the way it came about. And and we actually flew on my birthday. So that's why we waited to the July. We flew on my birthday. I think it was I about 23 or 24, I think we flew out on my birthday then. So it was one that I wouldn't forget.
So, all right, you mentioned Queensland and a job offer, but did you do much research about Australia? Like, so when you made the decision about moving to Australia, did you have in your mind like a, I don't know, like I guess a bubble that sits above your head and goes, that's where I want to live. This is what my life's going to be. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how we're going to raise Harry. Did you have all that planned before you came, or you sort of went for the approach of, let's just get out here and see how it's going to work?
Yeah, it was very much winging it back then. We didn't have the help of relocation calls or anything like that, which has been brought in to effect with you guys now, which is absolutely brilliant. We just winged it. We actually thought would maybe end up in New South Wales. We was actually looking at Newcastle. Again, that was purely because one of my work colleagues had a son there, so we thought, oh, that would make a great connection. But then, we switched to Queensland because of Craig's job, really, that's why. And haven't looked back since. We're still in the same area 4 years on.
Yeah, perfect. And let's talk about the area you're in. So from the UK, what was life like for you? Obviously Harry was quite young at the time, but what was life like a normal weekend, what you're doing in the UK compared to what you're doing now?
So a normal weekend in the UK, Craig would probably be working. He tended to do a lot of longer hours in the UK. So he was missing out a lot, or even overtime or nights.
You should have remembered you won that scratchy. You should have remembered that bit.
So that wasn't the ideal family situation, especially with having Harry so young. And then when Craig was off, it was either the best sort of things were like the family Sunday dinners and things like that. They're the things that I sort of miss. So we would probably have a Sunday roast at either parents or something like that. Or probably our Saturday nights tended to be a Domino's or out bowling with friends if Craig wasn't working.
Okay. And now what's it like?
Now? Craig is home probably no later than 4:00. We are able to, I pick Harry up from school, we come home, quick change, and we're probably out the door to the gym together because the gym here has a area for Harry to sit in, which, like today, he's asking if we're off to the gym because he gets to see his little best friend, sit on his iPad for an hour, while me and Craig can do a workout together. Come home and have dinner as a family. Again, Craig was missing out on those meal times as a family. I'm currently doing my university course, so I have lectures in an evening. So Harry and Craig will go off and do the soccer, do the tennis. Craig's around to do all that. He's not missing out on that. Even with regards to like if Harry has anything on at school, Craig has the flexibility now to say, right, I'll start work an hour earlier or I'll finish an hour later, so that he can come and see Harry in an awards assembly and get his certificate, or see him at his cross-country running and things like that. It's completely different to the UK. Completely different.
It is. So just to get in there too, Tina, it's crazy, isn't it? It's like yesterday the boys had the longest kick of school. They kick a footy as long as you can, and the parents are invited. The week before that, it was Father's Day. So obviously we got to hang out with the kids, and I couldn't believe it. Like where I am anyway, like all the dads and that just rocked up and just were there with the kids. It's like morning, and you can see a few of them look at the clock and having a chat with them. It was a Friday, which helped, but it'd be like I was asking, what are you up to afterwards? Like, nah, just going to go for a swim or do whatever they were going to do. But they, weren't going back to work. But it's kind of accepted, isn't it? That you've got a family, and you don't have to ask. That's just what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. And like weekend working for Craig now is pretty non-existent. He could have he has a choice to do if he wants to do the extra work at a weekend. So if he wants some extra money for that holiday or something like that, he will go do a few hours. Again, it's not full hours on a Saturday. It's like he'll go to work at about 6:30 and come home at 12:00 in the afternoon. So we've still got that afternoon together. So we'll go to the park, we'll go to the water edge, we'll go for a walk, we'll go on our bikes, We'll visit places. Whereas we wasn't doing that in the UK. You, like I said, you would sit at home, have a Domino's, watch Saturday Night Takeaway or whatever's on the TV.
It's the weather, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's the weather. So we've just, we're at the middle of September at the moment. You're in Queensland. What's the weather like?
Oh, it's beautiful. I'm sat here looking out my window now. Blue skies, 24 degrees. I am sat in a jumper though, guys, because you do get acclimatised in 24. Probably say I'm sat in a jumper. I do feel a little bit cold every now and again.
So we've just started spring. So we're looking at 24 at the start of spring. What temperature, if you would say from December till February, what sort of temperatures are you having in Queensland?
It'll get up above 30 easily.
And that's every day, Tanya?
No, I wouldn't say every day. Sometimes you can have like a really long week of been absolutely hot and humid, but then like a good storm will come through, it'll clear the air, that humidity will drop, you're back down to high 20s again. But again, as you get acclimatised to it, that feels normal, that feels nice, that feels like a British summer to us.
And how long would it take for you to feel acclimatised to the heat?
Not long at all. I mean, I've got friends here that have not long been here. They're probably about 4 weeks in. And I noticed the other day she's walking around with a jacket on and it's 23, 24 degrees. So she's obviously adapted fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Like, obviously, I think I said Queensland before, but where you are is Brisbane. And if we look at the map of Australia, you're sort of one of the reasons why Brisbane and Perth are so favoured by migrants is they actually get really nice weather all year round. Where me and Lisa are down the bottom of Australia, like Melbourne and Victoria, South Australia, we get a winter. And then at the top of Australia, they get a little winter, but it's obviously very hot come summertime. So that's why Brisbane and Perth are so popular, just because they get that nice little spread where you do get a little winter. But when we say winter, like you've just come out of winter, what was the average weather in winter in Brisbane?
Average weather. So cooler, definitely cooler. But again, sitting around 12, 13 degrees maybe. Again, a winter isn't damp, wet and cold like it is in the UK. A winter here is, yes, it's chilly. You put a pair of jeans on, you put a jumper on, you still go out and enjoy your day. Yep. And in the middle of the day, it sort of warms up and you're taking your jumper off. You're back down to your T-shirt again. And don't get me wrong, guys, you get rain. Everywhere gets rain. You get rain in Queensland. We need the rain. And it actually feels quite nice when we get a burst of rain. But I can guarantee you, in Queensland, the rain will always come at school pickup time or during the night.
Yes, I agree. It magically appears.
100%.
Or when you're about to start footy training.
Yes.
Always comes in. You've got to look after the kids and they've got footy training. All right. Perfect. These are, I think it's really good for listeners to hear a little bit about Queensland. Now, let's, you guys, day trips, do you guys take day trips? Do you go, I know you come to visit me in Melbourne, which was nice, but day trips, weekenders, where have you been so far in Queensland?
So in Queensland, we've been up north. So we've done the Barrier Reef. So we've been up to Airlie and all that. Absolutely fantastic. If you can get up there, guys, it's out of this world. Spectacular. And it's a short plane ride. It's literally you get on at Brisbane, hour or so up north, you're there. Where we are, because we're slap bang in the middle, we've also got access to the Sunshine Coast. Again, beautiful part of Queensland. Very beachy, very laid back, outstanding coastlines. Surf.
Driving from your place to the sunny coast, what are we talking? How many hours?
About an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how far up the sunny coast you go.
And then if we go the other direction and you want to head to the Goldie, how far are you driving from Brisbane to the Goldie?
About anywhere between 40 minutes to an hour, depending on where on the Gold Coast. It's
incredible because the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast, even though being in the same state, are very different. They're just totally different. 100%. And you got Brisbane's back, like in the middle. It's actually a very good place to live, Queensland. I can see why it's very popular with our migrants.
Oh, definitely. Like, you can even travel from like where we are from Brisbane, you can border hop into New South Wales, so you can go to the famous Byron Bay. That's in a car journey. Gold Coast, we've got the islands, so you've got Moreton Island with the famous shipwrecks out there. You've got Stradbroke Island, and on these sort of islands, guys, you can take your car across, you can go 4-wheel driving. On the beach, you can go camping. You won't be having any of that in the UK.
No. Well, if you do, you probably have to pay a big fee to go to a national park. Very different, but okay. So you're absolutely loving Queensland. Would you, has you ever thought of moving states or anything, or that's never really popped into your mind?
No, not really. We didn't really enjoy the trip actually down to Melbourne when we came and visited you guys. Like where you are is really, really nice. We've got very much a sort of British sort of vibe and a little bit American maybe as well.
In Melbourne?
Yeah.
Look, lots of migrants like Melbourne because you can put, it does get cold in winter. Like sometimes you check your phone, it's like 0 degrees outside. It's like freezing, but that's in the nighttime, obviously, like when we're meant to be asleep. And you get to, and I know lots of the migrants, especially the women, they love getting all dressed up in Melbourne, putting jackets on, and it's very similar to London. You'll actually find lots of Aussies when they move to the UK and they spend time in London. Let's say they're from Queensland or wherever, they'll actually all end up in Melbourne. So they really like the UK and that they actually get drawn to Melbourne. It's more London rather than UK, but they actually come back to Melbourne. There's a bit of a fun fact for you.
Yeah, no, it's great. And we've also been to Sydney because, again, it's only a short plane ride away. So we've been there a couple of times. We've taken Harry. Again, completely different vibe, but absolutely fantastic to say that you've seen the Opera House and the bridge and all that. And again, you can do it in a weekend.
All right. Well, look, what's if you could offer some advice to anybody who's looking to make the move to Australia, if you broke it up into stages. So obviously, we're talking about the visa sort of, like how would you start the process? What advice would you give?
Trust the process at the start, listen to the guidance, and don't rush it, guys. Do not rush it. Get everything ready, get everything lined up. Just listen to who's giving you the advice really on that side of things and prepare yourself. Again, like I said about the relocation calls, we didn't have any of that when we came out here. Absolutely. We didn't know anything about Queensland. Nothing. So having that service now is just one of the best things ever. So prepare all that. Ask the questions.
It's a great little service we got with the relocation calls for our, it's free for our clients. There's a little fee for if you're not a DUC visa client. All right, before we talk, so we'll actually go into that. I'll bring Lisa in to join us now. But as Lisa's joining us, let's talk about this book that you guys created. So you've got an amazing book called Harry's Adventures. There's a handsome redhead cartoon bloke there standing in front of the Down Under Centre. I think you missed a few muscles on him, Tanya. But anyway, we can blame the illustrator for that, I'm sure. Is that right?
Yeah, you can on that if you like.
Yeah, there you go. Little stick figure ginger guy standing out in front of the DUC. But all right, so you created a book. How did this come about?
Yes, so this came about really because my background, I work in allied health normally. That's my background. So I worked in the Queensland Children's Hospital here in Brisbane City. And I actually helped prepare children for really sick children for surgeries or having their needles done and things like that. And then doing my relocation calls, and one of my most asked questions is how Harry settled, everything that I've spoken about with the family and things like that. And I was like, I'm missing something here. There's a gap. Kids thrive off being prepared. They want to know what's happening. And if you can prepare them, again, preparation is the key. It helps them understand what is going to happen or what this process is about for them as well. So the book is something that I sat down with Harry it was February of this year. And I was like, right, Harry, let's write a story on our story. So it's based on our story. It's a true story. It's very relatable to anyone thinking of moving out here or in the mix of moving out here, whatever, or even if you're out here and you want a little reminder of how far you've actually come in this process. So yeah, we sat down, started typing away. Harry is very much involved, and it's basically a book that steps you through the process of moving to Australia. It gives the kids, it has questions throughout the book, which encourages conversations as a family. So you can all sit in bed and read it. The kids will go ask you questions about, oh, what do you do, mummy and daddy, if they're not at the age of understanding what their mummy and daddy does. And it gives them special jobs so they can feel a part of the journey. So it'll give them a job like, and my special job is to pack a box of my chosen toys. Because again, that's a huge thing for kids. You're chucking all their toys out. You're selling their toys. Where are they going? They get upset. They want to know what is happening. So the book tells them all about that. It tells them about the medical. They're going to go see a new doctor they've never seen before. It gives them a special job that they've got to be good for that doctor, that the doctor's not going to hurt them. It's just there to get them to Australia. So there's loads in the book. It's a key preparation.
It's very relatable. I know when Jet and Jax, we showed it to them, and you answered it so well. It makes them ask questions, doesn't it?
It does.
Like what does happen during this medical? How is this? And we had the same thing. That there's a couple of pages there about getting your stuff shipped over and saying goodbye to the stuff. And then when the stuff arrives, and you might think it arrives 2-3 months later, for us, it was a lot later because we came in the pandemic. But seeing the kids' faces, remembering that they've got all these toys coming over, it's like Christmas Day. Again, for us, it was literally a couple of weeks after Christmas. But yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And they definitely relate to it, Tanya. It's such a detailed book. I really feel you've captured all aspects of the book, or off migration. Do you have a certain part of the book that you're super proud of?
I love the part where it says about the family, because that is a huge thing for both, like we've spoke about in this podcast, about us as adults as well as the children. So there's images of me giving my mum an actual hug, and there's parts where, like, in saying goodbye to the family, like my sister and my dad dropped us off at the airport, and the waving off at the airport, at the hotel, there's things like that the kids, that's their last time they're going to see their family member for a few years or however long it is. So the emotional side, I'm really, really, really pleased that the book captures that. And yeah, the family is the biggest part in that, definitely.
It's quite a good book as well. I mean, we got the hardcover one, but it's got lots of pages to it. There's lots to it. How do you go about purchasing one of these books, Tanya?
So yeah, you can get a book through the website link of harrysadventures.com.au. And what Harry actually does, he actually writes you a little note in there and signs it if you would like it signed. And we just put like an extra little special touch of saying thank you for buying our book, and to keep in touch with us. Harry can be a friend to anyone that's making the move out here, because at the end of the day, Harry is the main character in the book. So yeah, and who knows, one day we might see some little book week Harrys around.
That would be, well, there'll be lots of Harrys in the Harry Potter format, but not the Harry, the 7-year-old soccer star from Queensland. That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I hope he does. It's a tremendous book. So just to recap a little bit, you've obviously came through. You met us at an expo. We met the Down Under Centre at an expo. We got you to Australia. You've had all these adventures, and then along the way, we, as a business, we made a decision to bring Lisa on and help with a relocation website. And the whole idea of the relocation website was to create a website that was made by migrants for migrants. Our clients know we have a private Facebook group, which works really well because it allows people to comment, talk, and we don't really have too many rules on there. It is a free for all. If if they've got an issue with immigration, a skills assessment, whatever, struggling with the English test, the whole idea is it's a support base. And we had lots of clients asking the same questions. So myself and Lisa got chatting a bit about, how can we build this website where everything can stay there and it's easy to find. So we put together the relocation website. which in that covers lots of different areas about, looking for schools. One of them was obviously how to find a house, and we'll come to that in a minute. But then there was everything, from partners to even where to find good things to eat, relatable food. And again, migrants can add to it. You can even follow people's journeys, like Instagram pages and all that. We've even got a section there called the Joey Club, which is just for kids. Kids can do drawings, and we have a partner who offers them a prize. We'll have to get one of the Harry books out there. I believe you're sponsoring it anyway this time, where Harry can choose a picture, and then we get some, send some books out. But it's a really an inclusive website, and from that, we sort of had a like getting the migrants coming over, helping with the visas, helping with the jobs. There's a whole section on jobs there as well, guys. Upskilling too. So if you're looking to upskill, anyway, definitely head to the Relocation Hub or the DUC Relocation Hub. We got into a position, Lisa, where people are asking so many questions that we came up with a concept of, well, wouldn't it be good for our clients, down under centre clients, to have a free relocation call with a previous migrant? So the idea is that you have an employment and a relocation call. And I'll get you to talk a bit about this in a minute, Lisa. And the idea was to do that. But then we had to find people who are relocation agents and a previous down and a centre clients who really had the values that we want and could really give the information. So, Lisa, how did we go about finding people, and how did we come across Tanya?
Yeah, thanks, Wes, and thanks for sharing your story, Tanya. So, I think all that happened just over a year ago, and about a year ago, we started to offer relocation calls out to people, and I believe Tanya was one of the first people who applied for the role. So Tanya is very well suited because she's obviously got the experience. She's lived here for a few years. She's a previous migrant herself, and all of our agents are previous migrants, so they all understand what people are going through. And like Tanya did touch on it a few times, it would have been great if she'd had those relocation calls and those services when she was going through her relocation process as well.
Do you know what I like about the call, guys, is the fact that they what the migrant actually leaves with, what you actually give to the migrant. Do you guys want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So what happens is throughout the call, the relocation agent shares their screen and a pack of information. And the idea is that throughout the call, there's questions, there's answers, and the person who's moving over walks away with like a sort of bespoke pack that's sent to them after the call with all the links and all the information that they need. And that sort of proves like really, really useful for them to use when they're going through that relocation journey. So they can just they can refer back to things as well. And then also what else we do is we do the home search service, and that's quite a sort of newer service that we've been offering maybe for about the last sort of half a year or so. And what happens with that is that sometimes ties in quite nicely with the relocation call, because that's sometimes the biggest question. Like, people don't know where to live. They need help to find somewhere to live, or they just need that advice. And so what we can do is we can help to find people somewhere to live before they move over to Australia, which takes away that kind of stress of landing in a new country, potentially with children, jet lagged and having to do everything, and just knowing that they've got somewhere to move into. You've helped a number of people, Tanya, to find somewhere to live. Have you got any like particular story that sticks out in your mind that you're really proud of?
I'm proud of them all, Lisa. I have had the pleasure of working with DUC clients and non-DUC clients, and I can honestly say they have all been an absolute joy to work with. And that rewarding moment of them landing fresh off the aeroplane into Brisbane, meeting them at the local McDonald's or coffee giraffes on the corner, to give them their new house key with a lovely little hamper to say thank you, is just the absolute best feeling in the world. And these people have now ultimately turned into like friends as well. So they know they've got the support of me still around and things like that while they build their new lives here. yeah.
It's
Yeah,
great, Tanya.
great.
You also have had a few meetups as well, which have been quite a success with our clients. Do you just want to run us through how you've gone about that? You even had a cake by memory, is that correct?
Oh, yes, yes. The meetups are the best, by far. So I arrange meetups purely because, like, the biggest thing is the people feeling alone. You haven't got family, you haven't got your friendship group yet. So these meetups are vital. I see it as vital. You're able to come together with other people that have been through your journey, same journey as you, whether they've been here a few weeks, a few months, a few years. You're all able to sit around, have a beer, have a slice of cake, take photos, and just build that connection of being with other people. We've actually got one coming up on the sunny coast beginning of October. Lots of plans of meetups ahead for sure, because they're just great.
Yeah, the meetups look like really good fun. That home search service has really been such a great value add for the down in the centre, and hats off to you, Lisa, as well, for building such a great product and spending so much time with the relocation agents. It's something that I guess people really don't think about, and hopefully the housing shortage in Australia calms down and helps that transition from one country to another. But at the moment, when you're speaking to people, Lisa, you're also a relocation agent as well for South Australia. When you guys are speaking to people, are they anxious about finding houses? Is it, or what are they mainly anxious about?
Yeah, they are anxious actually. So you'll find that the first call that you have with people, they are super, super anxious. And we help to put them at ease because they know that they've got someone on, where they're moving to, really, who is able to work on their behalf and communicate with them and communicate with the real estate agents as well, be on the right time zone. So they're not missing out on opportunities. And it's just all about communication. It's just all about staying in touch with each other and just holding their hand through the process. We just do such a great service, don't we, Tanya? Really,
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
And if your neighbour looks like the Dingles next door, I will be telling you straight away. So there is 100% trust there.
Yeah, because we take photos and videos of the houses as well. So when we go and view them, we obviously are looking at the neighbours and the street and what the place is like and feeding that back, because people don't have that just by looking at the realestate.com advert. Like, the agents sometimes don't even put up to date photos in those, do they? And so
Lisa, I've had some right crackers where the bathroom's been lined with tin sheeting. I'm not kidding you. It's been lined with tin sheeting.
What's a dingle?
Emmerdale, where's Emmerdale?
Emmerdale, like Corrie.
Yes.
Yes.
The Dingles are a famous family on there for being a bit rough around the edges.
I remember the Dingles. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, so that's the sort of relocation service, and all the links to everything is going to be in the description, including the links for the calls, the home search service, and also a link for Tanya's website for Harry's Adventures as well. So thanks so much, Tanya. It's been really, really great to have a chat with you.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Cheers for joining the DUC Migration podcast, and we will catch you next time. Thank you so much, Lisa and Tanya.
Thank you.
Bye.